Hello and welcome to my video. Today I'm going to show you all how to graph a linear equation using the gradient and y-intercept method. Today I will be going through two questions, one which is easy and the second which is slightly harder. But before doing so, I must first go through the general equation or formula for being able to plot a linear equation. The general formula is y equals mx plus c. In this formula, the m stands for gradient while the c stands for y-intercept. Our first question is to sketch and label the graph of y equals negative 2x minus 3 using the gradient and y-intercept method. Our first step is to compare the equation with the formula and to find its gradient. When we compare our equation y equals negative 2x minus 3 with the general formula, we can see that negative 2 is its gradient as it represents the m in the general formula. So then we would write m equals negative 2. Step 2 is to then find the rise and run of the gradient. When we are finding the rise and run of any gradient, we must ensure that our gradient is turned into a fraction form. For us to turn our gradient negative 2 into a fraction, we must simply add a positive 1 as its denominator. So then its rise and run would be negative 2 over 1. Step 3 is to find the y-intercept and make it your starting point on the Cartesian plane. The y-intercept in an equation is the point in which crosses over on the y-axis of a Cartesian plane. In our equation, we can see that negative 3 is our y-intercept as it represents the c in the general formula. Then step 4 would be to plot the y-intercept on the Cartesian plane. Here is our Cartesian plane. Our y-intercept was negative 3, meaning that is where our first point would be plotted. Step 5 is to then use the rise and run and move around the Cartesian plane accordingly. As discovered, our gradient was negative 2, meaning our rise and run was negative 2 over 1. One rule we must remember is that if our rise is a negative number, we are moving down on the Cartesian plane. But if our rise is a positive number, we are moving up on the Cartesian plane. However, if our run is a negative number, we are moving towards the left on the Cartesian plane, and if our run is a positive number, we are moving towards the right on the Cartesian plane. Here is our Cartesian plane. Our y-intercept was negative 3. Our rise was negative 2, meaning we are making 2 jumps going down, and our run was positive 1, meaning we are making 1 jump towards the right, plotting our second point and drawing a line between the 2 points, then writing our equation y equals negative 2x minus 3. The second question is to sketch and label the graph of y equals 5 minus 2 over 5x using the gradient and y-intercept method. Our first step is to compare the equation with the formula. When we compare our equation y equals 5 minus 2 over 5x with the general formula, we can see that it doesn't completely suit the formula as our y-intercept and gradient have been swapped around. To fix this, we must then swap around the equation so that the gradient comes before the y-intercept. When we do this, our equation turns into y equals negative 2 over 5x plus 5. Step 3 is to then point out the gradient and find its rise and run. In our equation, we can see that negative 2 over 5 is our gradient. So then our rise and run would be negative 2 over 5. Step 4 is to then find the y-intercept and make it the starting point on the Cartesian plane. Again, the y-intercept was a point in which crosses over on the y-axis of a Cartesian plane. In our equation, we can see that positive 5 is our y-intercept as it represents the c in the general formula. So then step 5 is to plot the y-intercept on the Cartesian plane. Here is our Cartesian plane. Our y-intercept was positive 5, meaning our y-intercept will be plotted on the y-axis on the Cartesian plane at point 5. Step 6 is to then use the rise and run and move around the Cartesian plane accordingly. Our rise and run was negative 2 over 5. And if our rise is a negative number, we must move down on the Cartesian plane. If our rise is a positive number, we must move up. However, if our run is a negative number, we must move towards the left. And if our run is a positive number, we must move towards the right on the Cartesian plane. Our y-intercept was positive 5. Our rise was negative 2, meaning we are making 2 jumps going down on the Cartesian plane. And our run was positive 5, meaning we are making 5 jumps towards the right on the Cartesian plane. Then plotting our second point, drawing a line between the two, and writing our equation y equals negative 2 over 5x plus 5. That is the end of my video. Thank you for watching.